Over 25 million people around the world were acutely food insecure in 2015. It is important to understand what groups of people in areas of the world are more vulnerable to food insecurity. Through research, Lowenberg published in his research paper, Conflict Worsened Global Hunger Crisis, that about a third of the 25 million people are refugees or people who have been internally displaced because of conflict. Immigrants, asylum seekers, and resettled refugees are at a higher risk of food insecurity than the native population. So, what does food insecurity mean? Well, defined by the World Food Summit, food insecurity exists when all people at all times don't have access to sufficient, safe, nutritious food to maintain a healthy and active life. This includes both physical and economical access to food to meet dietary needs and food preferences. Did you know that if we were to add up all of the world's production of food and then divide it equally among the world's population, each man, woman, and child would receive a daily average of over 2,800 calories, enough for a healthy lifestyle, according to Gordon Conway in his book 1 Billion Hungry, Can We Feed the World? Food insecurity is not only a global issue, it happens locally, yes, even in Vancouver. According to Statistics Canada, every year from 2007 to 2012, approximately 5% of Canadian children and 8% of Canadian adults lived in food insecure households. The most recent statistics indicate that 8.3% of Canadian households experience food insecurity. With the current influx of Syrian refugees and high living costs here in Vancouver, the number of people experiencing food insecurity has likely to have increased. So what is happening in Syria? Eruption of the Syrian civil war between the government and civilians since 2011 has caused 6.5 million internal and over 3 million external displacement of people in search for refuge, leaving most of what they own behind and carrying the bare minimum. Canada has accepted over 25,000 Syrian refugees, and of those, BC has accepted around 2,500, and we are expecting more to arrive in Canada by the end of this year. We then looked into news reports about Syrian refugees and discovered that they have been relying on food banks as their financial support has been running out. According to CBC News, it was reported that 7 out of 8 families visiting food banks were Syrian. In Vancouver, 700 government-sponsored refugees out of 1,500 refugees have used the local food bank since February. And this number will only increase once financial aid for the newcomers runs out, since welfare is not an adequate enough source to diminish food insecurity. Moreover, measures of acculturation such as difficulty in the shopping environment and language barriers were also associated with the occurrence and severity of food insecurity. Social support has been reported to play a key role in refugee resettlement, especially for new arrivals, because it buffers them from isolation, stress, anxiety, and depression. This is the perfect opportunity for Vancity to come together and help contribute to our local food crisis issues in order to assist the underlying cause of world hunger. What can you do? How can you help? Where do you start? Number 1, donate funds. Visit our GoFundMe page to make a donation. All proceeds goes towards purchasing Mediterranean food that suits the Syrian food preferences to help them feel at home and be part of the Canadian culture mosaic. This food will be donated to the Greater Vancouver Food Bank. Number 2, donate food. Bring your donations to any food bank donation drop-off. For example, the Greater Vancouver Food Bank, Richmond Food Bank, the Muslim Food Bank, and Richmond Family Place, and anywhere else that has a collection bin. Lastly, number 3, volunteer. Start a food drive or register a collection bin within your community, school, religious facility, or volunteer your time in distributing food at the local food bank. For more information, visit www.foodbank.bc.ca or make inquiries at our GoFundMe page.